listeners this morning?
You look very good. It's been a while.
Yeah, life is short.
I believe the 24-hour is taking a very
The 24-hour, I sleep in the daytime and I go to work in the night. I'm for the night shift. So if you don't see me, it's because we are in the 24-hour 3 shift.
We'll get to talk about the 24-hour and then maybe more recent government policies and how they are impacting.
And, I just asked for electricity to be extended to my farm. Because then we can weed in the night as well. It was the definition of a Sedunkatia. I'm demanding that the electricity be extended. In sort of doom, so I want the electricity in my farm. For the 24-hour.
A light way to start the morning, but how are you doing?
Very well.
It's
really
been a long
very
time.
Well. God has been good, and God's mercies and grace is sufficient. It's really been good. Yeah, I mean, disappointment in the way things are going, but this is all what we have. Ghana is what we have. So we are making our own contributions in whichever space we find ourselves. We do not want John Mahama to fail. We don't want the NDC to fail, because if they fail, this is the only country we have. Nobody should be excited if they fail.
But shouldn't that be an opportunity for the NPP to come back to power if they fail?
We don't. That is not our prayer. We don't pray that they fail so that the NPP come to power. That is not good for this country. Okay, they have an opportunity to make a contribution. They are building on what the NPP did, and we expect them to build on it properly, so that when the NPP come, we come and continue. And that is how nations grow. If you just hope that they fail, and then you come back, then we don't go anywhere. And that is why we are very much disappointed in some of the things that we are seeing. I've said it before, that all of us should be sad as a country if His Excellency John Mahama failed, because John Mahama finds himself in a very unique place in history. And we are not sure whether we come back to this position again anytime soon. And because when you have been president before and you go back and stay in opposition for 8 years to reflect on what you did and what you can do better, and you come back, you understand cabinet coordination, you understand national security architecture, you understand the geopolitical landscape, and you understand the diplomatic community. So you come into government and you can start work day one. This is John Mahama, the position he finds himself. Then uniquely, you are in your last term. Normally when you take over government, you have to do try and error in the first term and then hope that by your second term, you'll be more grounded. But in his case, he starts from day one with his last term. And normally, when you want a second term, your policies and programs and everything is shaped by the fact that you have to go back to the electorate to ask for another vote. This is a man who doesn't need our vote again. Okay. And then a third unique thing, all these unique factors, we may not get it again sooner, is that you have super majority in parliament. When you have super majority in parliament, that's power in your hand. You do not need the electorate vote. So you can take the most hardest decisions and you have nothing to lose. Okay? And you have been president before. You are in a unique position in history. That is why I say that the scale that you will use to measure President Kufuor Atta Mills, President Akufo-Addo, you cannot use the same scale to measure President John Mahama, because he is in a unique position in history. It's also the same way that I want to say good morning to the Upper East Regional Chairman of the MPP, lawyer Anthony Namor, but also to quickly say good morning to the Upper East Regional Minister. And to say that in the 8 years, there are certain things that did not happen in this region, and I'm not proud of under Akufo-Addo. One of them is that we could not give the Upper East region an airport. Okay, we could not give the Upper East region a sports stadium. We could not give the Upper East region some of the transformational road works that we need to do. We couldn't, and I'm not proud of. But you cannot, again, measure the MPP with the same scale that you are going to use to measure the NPP, the NDC. Because in the case of the NDC, Upper East region has delivered 15 over 15. And we have a voice. Unlike the last administration, we had the Honorable Abanga hanging in there. Today, we have 15 members of parliament. And not only that, we have some of the most powerful positions in the government. The Attorney General is probably number 2 in cabinet. And the majority leader sits in cabinet. This is what we have in our hand. So at minimum, the minimum demand we can give to the current government is 15 transformational development programs in the Upper East region. And I'm not talking about Granny Mill or 30 boreholes or some toilet facility. That is not transformational. The poverty profile has just been released by the statistical services. We have all read it. The northern districts remains the poorest. Okay. Young people were standing in the sun. In the Upper East region, temperatures go up to 40 degrees. And they were dancing to 24-hour economy song with the hope that they'll find jobs. It is not a market. And you know where we are now? Within the MPP, the John Mahama and his group who has come into power, they know that we have few months left for John Mahama to become lame duck. So they have all decided that let's try and eat as much as we can, because from next year, the man will be lame duck, and there will be a new leader of the NDC, and energy will move towards that leader. So if you are very close inner circle of John Mahama, your focus is on something to chop. So the 24-hour economy policy has been turned into a 24-hour economy market. And so that we can give somebody a contract and somebody has something to do and get something to chop. But you know that, and I have lived in a 24-hour economy before. So I'm not speaking as an ignoramus. I live in Amsterdam. Anybody who knows Amsterdam knows that they are running 24-hour economy. And I'm telling you, if you want to run a 24-hour economy, the first thing is not to go and build a market, okay, somewhere, and say, that is the 24-hour economy. What are people going to sell in that market at 2 a.m.? And what will be the reason?
But Doc, when questions about the 24-hour economy markets have been raised severally to leading members of the NDC on this platform. The argument they make is that the 24-hour economy market is to create the environment, to stimulate the environment. And that is one of the arguments that they pushed during their campaign, that is to stimulate the environment to attract the people. So in this case, the market is going to be built that is stimulating the environment to attract sellers, persons who want to run such businesses.
And from where you sit, do you believe that if you build a market, it stimulates an environment that creates a 24-hour economy? What is the kind of market we run in Ghana? We run a liberal market economy. Our markets are based on demand and supply. This is the kind of market system we have in Ghana. We are not in China, we are not in India. Our market is liberal and based on supply and demand. If you want to stimulate the environment, you start with a factory. Okay? A factory that produces a product that the people want. Okay, let me tell you, even in Bolga, if you start a dog production factory, you are on your way to stimulate the market, because you know how many people enjoy dog. So if you then have a dog kebab at 2 a.m., maybe you are getting closer to 24-hour economy. So the starting point is factories. Have you heard that in the Upper East region, having given 15, have we heard a factory, a salt curtain for a factory anywhere in the Upper East region? So when the market is built, what is going to be the supply in that market? And what is the demand for that product? What is the demand for that product that is going to be supplied in that market that will stimulate the environment? So the starting point to stimulate a 24-hour economy is not to go and build a market. That's not the starting point. The market, look, if you actually do a stimulation of the environment by bringing transformational, and one of them is factories, then the market will create by itself. You don't have to. It's good to put market and put those infrastructure, and we're happy. Let them build them. They will be useful tomorrow. But if anybody tells you that will stimulate a 24-hour economy, it will not.
But Doc, wow.
Basic requirement for 24-hour economy is human traffic. If you want to know whether the market they are building will stimulate, I don't know when is Bolga market. When is Bolga market?
I can't say
is it today or tomorrow? Tomorrow. So tomorrow, when it is 9 p.m., go to Bolga market. The existing Bolga market, not the one they are building. The existing one is organic. It has been developed over time. When it is 8 p.m., go there and have a look and see whether you see 24-hour economy. That should tell you. The focus has been moved to building market because everybody closer in the inner cycle of John Mahama say, we must chop before you become leader.
That is an allegation you are making, Doc.
So at least somebody has a contract.
But Doc, you're talking about one of the stimulants for a 24-hour economy market is creating factories.
Yes.
And in the previous administration, there were promises to build factories.
Yes.
But we never saw some of these factories, especially in the Upper East region, being commissioned.
Yes.
Can we equally say that if the NPP had done its worth by ensuring that these factories, one district, one factories, they promised over an 8-year period, were completed and fully functioning, these 24-hour economy markets would have had their source of raw products for their markets?
Yes. So I've told you that certain things, we did certain things that we are not very proud of. And some of those initiatives could not be completed. I can even tell you, me personally, I had an initiative and we are still at it, okay? One of the things that I personally thought about is about why can't we build solar plants? We are all suffering from doomsday. And we know that doomsday is about generation, distribution, and all of that. Why can't we have energy in excess? Because you see, whenever you have doomsday, it is not that there is a limited supply of energy on this earth. In fact, one of the most commonest things you can have is energy. Water is energy, air is energy, the sun is energy, anything is energy you touch. So that is why when you go to junior high school and you are learning science, the teachers will tell you energy can neither be created nor destroyed. You can only transform it from mechanic to sound to electric to whatever. But you cannot destroy it. So something that cannot be created nor destroyed, why is it in short supply? To the extent that we are in doomsday. That is a human problem. That is our own problem. It's not that nature has not given us enough. One of the excess ones in the Upper East region, for example, is sun energy. I mean, solar energy. Look, we get bent. So how can you be bent by the sun rays and you go and sleep in darkness? So one of the initiatives, and we have acquired 100-acre land in the Saka area in my constituency to build a 50-megawatt solar plant.
There's going to be privately led? Is it going to be a private-led initiative?
Yes, but I did the initiative, and we are working at it. As we speak now, we have gone for what we need is a PPA, a power purchasing agreement, and then a distribution agreement. You need these agreements. And then we have the investors on standby. They want to see the PPA. And we are working closely to achieve that. And once we get hold of the PPA, the investors will come on board and we build it. It has the capacity to employ up to 500 people. And it will have a lifespan of 40 years. To understand? When I talk about transformational, this is what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about a granny mill. I'm not talking about, I did 104 boreholes for my constituency. 104 boreholes. So if you are a member of parliament and you come and say 30 boreholes and then you are dancing and cutting sword and walking around, it means nothing. That is not transformational, okay? And we are looking at, I'm working on how to move even the boreholes I did to the next level. Okay, so I've been working with some Indians to bring solar pumps, and we connect solar pumps to these boreholes and promote dry season farming so that the women who went to Burkina Faso to die should not happen again. Why? If you go to Burkina Faso, the topography and the landscape is the same as Upper East region. So why should our women go and die trying to get tomatoes to come to Ghana?
Right.
Okay, what can we do? So it has caused me to go and have a conversation with other people, and who can we bring solar pumps? Okay, and I'm excited because we find some people that they can even do a mobile solar pump. So, for example, if you have a borehole and you can put a water tank by that borehole and connect it to drip irrigation system, okay? Do you know that you don't even need to put the pumping and the energy source there permanently? So you can have a solar pump, a solar system that is mobile, and move from wherever there's a borehole and a tank. If you go and pump the water and fill 3 tanks there, Okay,
can move it to
there
another
is enough water for supply of whatever there, and then you move to the next one. By the time you go around, you come back to this one and you do it. And if we can move our people from just rain-fed agriculture to dry season agriculture, then we are transforming the landscape. And then the moment I begin to look at it, a lot of other companies begin to come on board. And guess what? Somebody says they can provide solar-powered cold storage system. You know what that means? Because if you produce tomatoes,
yeah, you need to store it,
and the market is not good, and the farmer ran at a loss, that farmer will curse you. But if you can also have a solar-powered cold storage system, then that farmer can store the tomatoes for a period of time to make sure that they maximize profit. It is that kind of thinking that we need to get into to transform Northern Ghana. If we stick to business as usual and say when you come into government and then you make all the promises and you come and say, oh, we are doing big push and we are doing whatever, and big push is about let's make money, because otherwise John Mahama will come lame down. You know what big push, you know the crime big push is doing. Are you conscious of what's happening with big push?
Fill us in on that.
Because before we left office, to construct road, 1 kilometer of road costs $1.2 million. But everybody, every engineer will tell you that actually it costs $600 to construct 1 kilometer road. But you know, with road constructions, there are a lot of many other factors. You know, you may be going through people's farms, you may be doing whatever. And so they double the price to make it 1.2. And so every road contractor know that if you do your homework very well, you will gain 100% when you get a road contract. You know why the big push contracts are also sourced? Because it costs $2 million per kilometer. So if you get 50-kilometer road, the cost is $100 million. And I just told you that in reality, it costs $600 to construct a road.
But government says they needed to fix the road system in time, the road connectivity. That's why the sole sourcing was the only alternative at the time.
No. It is simply because a $2 million per kilometer road can never go through competitive tendering and succeed. Nobody. No committee within the procurement system will sit down and pass it, because that means you will go to jail.
Right. Doc, I want to ask this.
So it's a money-making machine. John Mahama will be lame duck.
Right.
Job for the boys. Let's job. If you even get a 2 kilometer road, okay, you are making how much?
No,
money are you making? You are making $1.4 million.
Interested.
So we know what's going on.
Right. So my colleagues have, right. So I have this question to ask in terms of development and what we receive as a people.
Yeah.
Would you say that probably as a region over the years, we've celebrated the mediocrity of development over the actual development and calling our leaders we choose to represent us out, asking the rightful questions on why we don't get certain promised development?
Yes, and I will say that we should blame ourselves, we in Upper East. You know what? Whenever you see us up and rising and angry and ready to even take guns and shoot at each other, it is not overdevelopment. It's either over chieftaincy. We are against the DCE or the regional minister, or we're fighting among ourselves. We are We are fighting over land and things like that. It is never because we are fighting for transformational development. That is never the case. And so we should blame ourselves. And I've said that in a democracy, there's one thing to go and cast your vote. There's another thing to demand for the basis on which you casted your vote. And when we cast our vote and we give 15 over 15 to NDC, and come back and say, oh, we are NDC, and then we dance around and wait for 4 years to go and cast our vote and say, oh, as far as we are NDC, nothing happens. Absolutely nothing happens. The only way is for us to rise up and demand our due. And we don't do that enough.
If you say we don't do that enough, how do we do it?
Ourselves.
How can we do it?
I just told you, whenever you see people, recently I was a bit excited that the bridge here, people blocked it and screamed. We need to see more of that. Not because of chieftaincy, not because of, tribal conflict, not because, we will not agree for the airport to be here and that kind of thing. But that there's one of the disasters you have in Upper East region is youth unemployment. I live in Accra, and I'm very sad about young women who have finished tertiary training from this region, and because of lack of jobs, they run to the south. Many of these young women are struggling. And you know that when a young woman is hustling, she becomes vulnerable. And so my heart bleeds when I get a call. They say, I don't have accommodation. I was staying here, I've been kicked out, and I need support. My heart bleeds for young people. So what are the transformational development projects that we are looking at to bring to the north, so that we can create jobs for young people to have decent, live a decent life and be able to support a family? What are the young people asking for? Just to be able to support a family. Every young person wants to be proud and walk out there. That when I go home and my child says that I want cocoa, I'm not going to scratch my hair, but I'm going to say that, yes, take money and go and buy cocoa. This is all what they are asking for. And that is why I tell you that I feel sad that we made young people to dance. When you listen to John Mahama pointing at the 24-hour clock and say 3 jobs, 3 shifts.
But it's just 2 years. Can 2 years be enough time to create these jobs for every youth?
You can afford to say that. That is just 2 years. Do you know that all what John Mahama has now is 6 months to govern? By the end of this year, governance is over and politics will take over. Within the NDC itself, power play, it's already started. And that is going to be the occupation of, and I pity him because he will become lame duck very soon. It's not just a statement we are making. Everybody within the NDC knows that as soon as the NDC get into their politics and choose a leader in politics, everybody oscillates, resonate towards the future. And everybody knows that His Excellency John Mahama is not the future. So as soon as the future is defined, John Mahama become lame duck.
Is that not why, although he has earlier, as you mentioned, that he's uniquely positioned to charge transformation, he has to also play the cards well to ensure that NDC, the party, remains favorable to win the next election to continue governance?
Yeah, but that is not the current focus. You remember that when NDC come within 1 month, by the words of the Honorable Samuel Naughty George, within 1 month, Galamsey will be a thing of the past. They came in, and indeed, within a short period of time, they put in a policy that is the #1 promoter of Galamsey. And that policy is called Gold Board. You know that Gold Board do not buy gold from the large-scale mining companies.
Recently, we saw the amount sellings of gold to Gold Board.
Yes, I know.
Yes.
But the focus has been the small-scale mining sector. And the small-scale mining sector, a chunk of it is coming from Galamsey. You know that. Right now, the only entity allowed to trade in gold is Gold Board. You know that. Have you seen excess gold in the system coming from Galamsey? Because Gold Board is buying gold from Lance's small-scale miners. Do we have excess? So everything is absorbed by Gold Board. The Gold Board is the #1 promoter of Galamsey. So the government that has come in to deal with Galamsey has put in a policy that is a pull factor for Galamsey, and they are unable to do anything. So you see that they are doing everything to position NDC to be favorable. Galamsey has failed. 24-hour economy. When was the last time you heard the song being played? The song that they were dancing in the sun. Are they playing it?
Politics is over. Campaign is over. So they have to get back to real business.
Have you followed the teacher recruitment? Have you followed nurses recruitment? When they opened the portal for nurses recruitment, maybe because of the 24-hour economy, they close it within 24 hours. Okay. And maybe you don't appreciate, but if you had a sister who completed nurses training in 2021, okay, and is at home, and those in 2022 are at home, 2023, and 2024, and we are in 2026, and next year nurses will come out, you will appreciate. Go and ask the Youth Employment Agency. You remember Basintali and co went around and recruited young people. They said they are sending them to Middle East to work. And I'm sad about it. I'm not happy about it. But there is a sad development. Do you know that the global business community had considered the Middle East as the safest haven to do business? So Dubai has been noted as the #1 business safe place to do business. Unfortunately, and this is sad, this is not the making of the NDC, but Donald Trump decided to go and bomb Iran. And Iran, being a weaker partner, says that the only way we can pain Donald Trump is to make the Middle East unsafe. And they succeeded in doing that. Is to make the Middle East unsafe. And they succeeded in doing that. He sent to Dubai to go and do security work and all of that. It's all on hold. Okay, some of them are from my constituency. They've gone and gotten a visa, but they are stuck because they cannot go. Okay, it is also the same reason why if you are in gold business, you know that gold prices has dropped as we speak now. People who have gold are trying to hoard it because the market is not good. That problem is coming from India because India is the major operations in gold. But the India Prime Minister herself has announced and called on Indians to stop buying gold. So those global factors has not been helpful. And because of that, our unemployment situation has worsened. We are not able to absorb them in the teaching field, in the nurses field, and you saw what happened with the security agencies.
Right.
And I've always said that government has a limit to how much it can recruit. Where is the transformation at the factories that would provide that conducive environment for 24-hour economy and create the jobs? The only place you can have trade shift is a factory. It's not a market. And in the Upper East region, the minimum we want is 15. So that is what we have put on the table.
Right. If you're just joining us, this is a conversation with Dr. Kingsley Krug. He is a former parliamentary candidate on the ticket of the NPP for the Zebula constituency, joining us in studio. We want to take a different tangent to the conversation by looking at an environment, the issue of environment, a sector that he held for quite some time. So, Buta, is there any question on the area of environment you want to give to Doc?
To be proper, we give him the chance, Doc.
Yeah.
So you give us maybe your assessment of the current issues concerning environment and illegal mining to a sort of say the Galamsey within this current administration.
Yes, I mean,
you already touched on the issues.
I've said that to whom much is given, even much more is expected.
Mm.
And before I left office and when I got to EPA, one of my proudest achievements was to say that, look, I went to New York for a UN high-level meeting. And I was sitting in a panel, and the next person sitting to me was the EPA boss in the US. So we finished the conversation, and during coffee break, I was talking to him. And I discovered that he was a cabinet member. He sat in cabinet. I said, what? The EPA boss sit in cabinet? I said, yes. Because the environment is the most important. That is the reason why he sits in cabinet. So when I came back to Ghana, we had Environmental Protection Agency. If you look at that law, you see a very weak entity where people don't even think this is one of the most important government agencies. So I said, no, we cannot continue like this. Whatever it takes to change that legal framework and give the EPA more biting powers and make sure that the EPA become one of the most important institutions in this country. We have to do that. It wasn't easy because we had a hung parliament. So to get parliament to do what you want was a problem. But I went through the roof. Okay. If you ask the current minority leader, Afeo Markin, it got to a point where he just didn't want to see my face. Okay. And even current majority leader, okay, my own brother, Mahama Yarga, okay, I was on his neck. Because I was like, look, I want a legacy. And guess what? Do you know when President Akufo-Addo signed the EPA Environmental Protection Authority Act into law? 6th January 2025. And Nana asked me, Krugu, why? Is your life depend on this thing? I said, yes, if you don't sign it. And tomorrow you hand over. And a new government come into power. It has to go through a new parliament come into power. They'll say, this is spent bill. Look at what happened to the LGBTI thing.
The family values bill.
So I never had Christmas and I never slept. And I was on the 6th of January, I was sitting in front of Nana Addo. Everywhere he went on the 6th of January, I was there. I said, this has to be signed into law. And you see, when a bill is passed, it goes through certain processes before it comes for the president to assent. So guess what happened? That is why I said I didn't have Christmas, because I had to run through all that to make sure whatever should happen in Parliament, the paperwork that ought to happen for the bill to be ready for the president to assent. I made sure that happened. And that is why sometimes I sit back and I feel a bit sad, because the current administration in the EPA have a better law in their hand. They have more biting powers. They can do much more. I am not one that criticizes the one who succeeds me and take the same seat. So you don't hear me criticizing, but I expect them to do much more, in the environment. Galamsey is sad. You know why I'm very sad? Because since they came into power, they have not put in place one single policy to deal with Galamsey. You quickly cite to me NIMOS. NIMOS is nothing new. We had Operation Stop 1 and 2 and all of that. A military establishment at Galamsey. That is what they label it, NIMOS. I am not saying it's not important. President Akufo-Addo told us something. He says that you need that military operations, because once a snake bites you, you kill it, you don't form a committee on snakes. So he says that we need a military operation to continue to stop these guys who go and stand in the middle of the river and start mining. But he was clear in his mind that it is not the solution. That is why the program I coordinated from the Ministry of Lands was called Landscape Restoration and Small-Scale Mining. That program will end in 2028. Okay? And people criticize His Excellency Akufo-Addo for developing a program that goes beyond his tenure and not sure what will happen to it. And he says that Galamsey is structural. So the solution cannot be quick and dirty. So while you are doing this military operation, you need a formalization program in place. That takes time. It needs institutional strengthening. We were able to achieve that. People will ask you, what did you achieve? We achieved institutional strengthening. The legal framework at the Minerals Commission is much better now than ever before. The logistical support, we put in place that tracking system that has become dysfunctional in the current situation. The tracking system where that you could even put a tracker on an excavator and follow through that system, all those systems that we put in place to strengthen the institutions and to proceed. And you know what we were coming to when I say formalization. The question is, why are we calling Galamsey illegal? Who said it's illegal? Because by law, small-scale mining is the preserve of Ghanaians.
Yeah.
Do you know why mining, the mineral resources are invested in the president? So it can belong to all of us. Because if it is not invested in the president, when I discover it in my farm, I will say, you are not allowed to come because it's for me. And that is the reason why by law is vested in the president, so that it is for all of us. And small-scale mining is the preserve of Ghana. So when Ghanaians are in the pit digging and you call it illegal, it means that we will lose the fight. And that is why the whole idea of formalization, we're now moving into this stage where we say that, look, instead of military people coming to chase you and try to shoot you and kill you, why can't we put Minerals Commission, EPA, Water Resources Commission, and all those teams together and send them to the pit rather and come and say, who are you? Your name is Atia, and you are here digging. You want to survive. It's a livelihood matter. Where you are digging, we'll carve it for you. We, from today onwards, we are going to regulate what you do there. So today, you are for this place. We regulate you. We supervise you. What do you need? What capacity are you lacking? So we train you. How do we make sure you do mercury-free technology? It was the basis why the gold catcher machine was brought into Ghana. Today, do you hear any conversation around gold catcher? The mercury-free technology, the Sikabuchi discussion, have you heard of it? It's all dead. This is why we are sad that there is no program approach to dealing with the environmental crime that we are committing. And we are just talking about NIMOS, and then when NIMOS go and arrest some people, they parade them, take pictures and show on television and say the government is fighting Galamsey. We know from the Australian experience, from the South African experience, we arrest people and parade them and shout. You know what South Africa did with the Zamazama fight? They even killed millions of people. There was one time when they just went, Galamseys are in the pit, and they shut down that whole mining pit and killed several people. But that did not bring a solution to Galamsey. We know what works and what doesn't work.
Right.
And we thought this government, having sat back, have reflected deeply.
Right.
That is the reason why, you know, that recently they appointed committee leadership, and I'm spokesperson for environment and natural resources for Dr. Bawumia 2028 campaign. That's the reason why we say that, look, this country, we can't do things business as usual. We are not going to come back and do sloganeering and get people to dance to 24-hour economy and it become water and air.
Right.
But we are putting together a plan. And I tell you, Dr. Bawumia, you need to sit in a room with him. He has put all of us to the wall. He believes in two things. Whatever you raise your hand to say, I want data and evidence. If it is not data-driven, if it is not evidence-based, shut up. Okay? So by 2028, by the time the man come out to put the plans before the people of Ghana, you will be shocked.
Right.
Okay, so
it's a quick follow-up.
A quick one.
Yes.
Critics say whether it is the NDC or the NPP in government, issue concerning illegal mining seems not to see any change. With what you have said, what some of the things that you have done whilst you were how would you respond to people who are worried about actions of political parties when they are actually in charge of affairs in the state?
Yes. You know, that is the reason why when I started this conversation, I told you that we are not, nobody is looking forward to NDC to fail. Because nations grow, and nations go through an organic process of growing. That is why our politics too must grow. That is why if MPP come into power and is unable to do certain things, when NDC come, they should do better. And when MPP come, they should do even much better. And that is how we can grow. That's the reason why I've told you that, you see, when NDC was in power, it was in opposition. It was disappointing to hear people say that when we come into power, within 1 month, we'll solve Galamsey. That is not taking the people of Ghana serious, because you don't solve structural problems within 1 month. But when somebody come and focus on institutional strengthening, okay, you come and you have a better platform to do better. You built on that. And to be honest with you, when it comes to institutional strengthening, MPP did a lot. Take Minerals Commission. If you know the number of vehicles that were procured, if you know the law, you see the punishment regime by the Minerals Act, Mining Act, has been, my brother, the Honorable Abu Jinapor did a lot of work in that direction. NDC has come, they should build on that. There is a kind of a failure to build on that, and that is sad for our politics. Okay, that's sad for our politics because there's no program approach. There's no program approach, and that is sad. So we are learning from that, and that is why I've told you that we are not going to come in 2028 and do the same kind of thing and say when we can, we'll just do this, we'll do that. But we are learning from that, going back to look at why is Australia the best country to deal with galamsey? What did they do? And that's what Dr. Bawumia says, give me data, give me evidence. Right. Southern America, they call Calympus galamsey. They have done much better than us. South Africa's story has not been good. They are still struggling with Zamazamas. The same way DRC Congo, it's much more a problem, just like it is in Ghana, and it's across Africa. Right. What lessons can we pick from the successful people and from those who are struggling and put a program together so we can take the people of Ghana serious? I agree with you. NPP, NDC, we've not yet taken the people of Ghana serious enough. We've taken people for granted. And that is a risk. Like the way we treat young people. We take them, provide them education, they come out, we don't make sure they find jobs to do. That's a balloon waiting to explode. Okay? You can do the song and make them go and dance there. But these Gen Zs are also communicating among themselves. And you saw what happened in the Arab Rising, you know, what happened to Egypt and some of the other countries. We shouldn't take it for granted that these young people, they are boiling. And when their frustration reach a certain point, nobody in this country can control them. Right. And so we have to take people serious. And that is why Dr. Bawumia has put us together. Next week or so, we will be inaugurated, and he's tasking us to go to work. He says that we cannot continue to take the people of Ghana for granted.
So, I mean, some time back, there was just some discussions around government or something. Is it dechemicalized?
Yeah, our water bodies.
And all that.
From where you said,
from what you say, what you know, what do you make of it?
My position has been clear when I was sitting as EPA boss, and it is still clear. I do not believe in dropping any chemical into our rivers. I don't. And let me tell you, that thing is commercially driven. Those people, they came to me. Okay? When business people manufacture their chemicals, okay, they are looking for state agencies to sign a PPP agreement, public-private partnership agreement, okay? And then they will come and say that this is a solution. If you agree, we'll sign an agreement and we'll bring that solution to you. But we'll monetize it. No business person will come and drop their chemicals there for free. They are not trying to drop those chemicals there because they just want to do something good for Ghana. They want to sell that product. And the best buyer is the government. Okay, so it's commercially driven. When I was sitting there, different groups came with those solutions, but I told them that dropping chemicals in the river is not something. I studied biology and I went to study public health. I was not sitting at EPA as an ignoramus person. So before you come with your chemicals, I have also taken advice from my technical expert, but I also know something a little bit. And I said that is not the way. What is the problem? Why is the river, and I read yesterday or so, some people said now they buy water only because the water situation has worsened. But what is the name of the problem? What is causing the turbidity? What is making the water brown? It's Galamsey. And if you don't deal with the source, because you have a running river, where you see the river polluted, that is not where the pollution is taking place. Pollution is taking place at a source. Until you stop that pollution from coming, don't go and drop any chemical in the river. So I have been very clear to that is not the solution.
Right.
The solution is to stop the source of pollution, and the river will heal by itself. What we need to do, there are two things: to stop the source of pollution and to dredge the rivers, because those rivers have also become dead rivers. And if we want to bring the rivers back to life, we need to desal them and dredge them and allow the water to flow, and the river will heal over time. And it will bring back aquatic life. What gives rivers life is the aquatic life come back. But as long as those pollutions did not, there are also heavy metals in there. Those heavy metals has killed aquatic life. So the thing is messy enough to go and drop chemicals inside.
Right.
You understand?
Quick, so, you see, you said something that just drew my attention to one thing that a lot of people have been saying, that has to do with politicians and how they act with regards to Galamsey. You mentioned the source of Galamsey, and we understand politicians are neck deep when it comes to Galamsey activities. And that we usually could refer to them as the big fishes, that we should catch the big fishes, and that Galamsey will come to an end.
Yes.
Is it really true from what you know? Are politicians engaged in Galamsey activities?
Well, whether it's true or it's not true, now we have evidence coming from His Excellency John Mahama. He said that his own people are involved in Galamsey. So you don't need to ask me whether it's true. You have the evidence now, you know.
But by that saying, are you exonerating that in the previous administration we didn't have some elements of the NPP administration also?
I am the last person to say that. And I have always said that it is not NPP people or NDC people who are doing Galamsey.
Ghanaians.
It's Ghanaians. And I have always said that until we take out the partisan lenses, we will not find a solution to Galamsey.
But is there a solution to it?
There is.
Can it ever be stopped?
I've just told you that President Bawumia will solve Galamsey. You are talking about the big fishes. I've told you that when 2029, when we come, we are going to go to the Galamsey pit. And when we meet you there, we will give the concession to you. Do you think that will not affect the big fish? You have to know that from day 2, the big fish doesn't own the place again. You, the one who is standing there, we will give you the concession, legalize you, and regulate you. Okay? And you will do mercury-free mining. And the problem will be solved. You will not pollute the river. You will not get the opportunity to do it. Do you know what is happening? As long as we treat Galamsey as an illegal entity, the people are not doing proper investment. Mining requires proper investment. Okay. Look, it is a very simple thing to mine and don't put the water, don't pollute the river. You know what? You need to be able to construct the water treatment area. That requires investment. Now, no Galamsey has a peace of mind to do such construction because they know that one day military people will come and bend their equipment. So they are not willing to do an investment. And because they don't do an investment, it is easy to go and wash and pour it into the river and run away because you are stealing. So, but as long as we come around and say, you are the one doing Galamsey, yeah, okay, fine. From today onwards, you are legal. Go and look for whatever investment and come and do proper investment. You are not allowed to pollute the river. You have a peace of mind to invest. You would not pollute the river. And we would regulate your activity. But until we come to that, and that was the formalization program we had put in place. And a program approach takes time. So you didn't see the results. And guess what? I'm sad about this because I was the one who led the process that secured $103 million from the World Bank. I led the process. And we had not gone any far in implementing it. By the time we were leaving office, there was still over $88 million. Unfortunately, in this country, we do politics with everything. So you come into the project coordination center, you sack everybody.
People who knew the genesis.
You sack everybody. Then you reconstitute the team. The World Bank becomes history. Because when they do investment, they do capacity building. They've trained people and they are working with them. And you clear everybody. You put new people in place. As we speak, the implementation of that program is in shambles. Not only are the people there don't know what they are about, but also the World Bank is not comfortable. So it is that kind of thing that set this country back. And it was back pain work we did to secure that funding. And it was supposed to last all the way till 2028. And if they had come, there's money, there's people. If you want to ask questions about how is it being implemented, we have new ideas to help improve the system and continue that effort. We will get into a solution. As long as you disassemble all of that and you only have 4 years, then we have a problem. Just the same way that it pains me that the late Dr. Omaneboa, my good friend, the Tamale MP, lost their lives. What were they going to do in Obuasi? That they were going to launch what? You have come to meet a community mining scheme in place. Ask questions. How is the implementation? Why is the implementation not effective? Why are people saying that it is a form of Galamsey? How can we make it better? You say no. You take it, give it a different name, and say we are going to Obuasi to launch it, and people die in the process, and nothing happens. Where we sit now, what has happened to the community mining scheme? There was a manual, a booklet, a blueprint on how to implement it. When you come, if you have new ideas, improve that system and run it. You come, and where we are now, nothing to show. So this country cannot continue like this.
How different is that plan, the community mining policy, and that of the cooperative mining that this administration actually said they are going to work on?
Nothing. There's no difference. There's no difference. And you know why there cannot be difference? Look, it is not like the politicians in the NDC came in and brought new ideas to write a book and it's called cooperative mining. You have to know that it is the technical people who sit at Minerals Commission, EPA, Water Resources Commission, Ghana Geological Survey Authority. These are the same technical people, is what you put together as a committee and say, we want to now do cooperative mining. And those technical people, they are the ones who develop the community mining. It's not as if they don't like Ghana. They put their best brains and minds and technical know-how together to put together the community mining scheme. So you come to power, you put the same people together in the same room and say, call it cooperative mining. So they go and take the community mining booklet and then they delete community mining and put cooperative mining, because they are the same people.
Change the name of the executive.
They are the same people. I mean, our brother Ali Sando is the mining director at the EPA. He was the mining director under me. He is the mining director. You cannot set up an expert committee in the mining sector to go and develop something without putting Ali Sando inside.
Right.
Do you understand? And Ali Sando is a good man. When I was there, whatever ideas he put to me is the same ideas he's putting to Professor Kluche. So the same people are the ones you can only put together to develop whatever for you. And it is not as if they are MPP or NDC. They are experts. They will come together and put their ideas together. And they put the best ideas together.
Right.
It is the implementation.
Right.
That is up to the politician. So if you are not happy with the implementation of community mining, when you come, ask questions and do it better.
Right.
Don't say it is now called cooperative mining and go and kill people and come back and nothing happens.
If you're just joining us, this is an interaction with Dr. Kingsley Krug. We've been engaging with him. It's been an enlightened conversation for the past hour, and we want to redirect the focus of this conversation towards home development at home and some of the initiatives that you've taken. Doc, let's begin with congratulating you for the Buttesbury. We had a lengthy phone conversation with you on it, but what does the future hold for Buttesbury?
Oh, so much. So much. You know, we initiated Buttesbury in 2022 in response to what I call quite an epidemic in the education sector, because His Excellency Akufo-Addo implemented the free senior high school education. And you know, the free senior high school education did something in the education sector. It addressed equity. This was an equity addressing program that says that, look, me, from where I sit, I can pay for my child's school fees. But maybe my brother is not in the same situation. And so his child may not be able to go to school. So free senior high school solved that equity problem and made sure that my brother's child would also go to school. But that is senior high school. When they all now complete senior high school, the next challenge with equity is the tertiary level. So if you had a child who otherwise would not have been able to go to secondary school, but free senior high school made it possible for them to go, that child is even in a much more difficult position to get tertiary education. So that was the basis on which we put in place Buttesbury. But it was a personal initiative with personal income, because I used to work in Amsterdam and I came back, and because of modern technology, I could still work online in Amsterdam. So at the end of the year, I get my paid from there, and I spoke to my wife and we agreed to put that money into a scholarship fund to support those who are in the position I was at when I was a young person growing up from a very humble background. But that is personal. And then, but the more you do that, the more the demand increases, because people get to know about Buddhist Scholarship Fund, and more applications come and the demand is growing. So you then realize that from a personal position, you are not able to meet a bigger need. So we thought that we have to transform the scholarship fund from being just a personal initiative to become a fund that is capable of raising funding using my broad network across the world. And then people want to see system in place in order to put money. Nobody wants to put money in a system that seems to look like it's a matter of John Krugu and the wife and things like that. So if you put money in there, maybe I will steal that money, you know. So they want to see a system. So we have to go through an audit process and make sure auditors go through the process and get it audited. We subjected ourselves to the Ministry of Gender and Children and Social Welfare and went through all the processes. And we have now been certified and gained a charitable status that gives us an opportunity. And we're currently in conversation with some foundations, some charity organizations. I had the opportunity to I've been in Germany, I've been in the UK. Next month, I'll be going to the UK. And as I travel around the world, engaging with foundations and other even scholarship secretariats, and they are all seeing on how we can build partnership. We have a budget for $10 million in the next 5 years to raise into that fund. You know, so we are looking at that in 5 years' time, we should become the most important scholarship fund in the Upper East region, okay? So that we'll be able to,